HeroBuilders.com YouTube channel. Thanks for subscribing, and always try to subscribe. Just don't come and see our videos, be a subscriber. It's awesome. We have tons of videos coming out. They should be fantastic, taking you through the whole process of making custom action figures, custom figurines, custom toys. We're just going to be getting bigger and bigger as we go along. So this video today is about how to make a custom figurine. We got called at HeroBuilders.com from a book publisher from France. They came out with this little cute figurine. It's part of the book. And so they need the figurine physically to either sell with the book or at least do some publicity, some advertising, whatever. So this is what we were given. This cool image of the figurine. We started with sculpting. And look at that. The video takes you through the various steps. Sculpting of the figurine, mold making, very complicated mold. You really want to watch this. How to open that mold, how to make sure when you cast into that mold, you get no air gaps and all the pitfalls that happen with a complicated mold like this. Watch it a few times. It'll take you through the process. It's a beautiful little figurine. And come to HeroBuilders.com and see how this figurine is made. And don't forget, tell your friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, HeroBuilders.com. All right. Cool, right?
So we're making a little witch sculpture today. So we built some armature out of wire and epoxy sculpt. Now I'm gonna go over it super sculpty on just a little wooden base. So now I'm just gonna build up. building up the legs a little bit. And her skirt has to come out more on the sides here. It kind of comes out even with the side of her head. So I'm going to add more to the side. Gonna make it flare out more all the way around. Now I'm kind of mapping out where the waist is, which is pretty high on this dress. Start working on putting in some shoulders. She's got like the poofy shoulder dress. I smooth out the neck first. Oops. I've got the mic turned up on my camera, so hopefully it picks up all my mumbling. Kind of looking like an elf. I think I need to make this skirt come out a little more in the front. Just kind of poofs out towards the bottom. It's like a cone. That's what I was looking for. Not a triangle shape, a cone shape. Spherical all the way around the bottom hem, and it all kind of comes to a point at her neck, sort of, right? So continue to build up her skirt, and I did one leg. I'm gonna get the other leg even. Like I said, rolled out some clay for some arms. Just sticking them on there. And for the side, we're gonna place our little elbows. Just need a little indication. Elbow. What we want to do so you don't have to dig in so hard. Put a tiny bit of the solvent on there. And it just kind of really softens it up so it glides. It's easier to spread that out. Working on the little hands now. Just trying to get the detail. The thumb. So I'm gonna map out the face. We built up our cheeks, and now we're gonna add a little more material for our chin. Kind of want to make an indication of where her bangs are. Probably end about here. So that means her eyes will be down here. And add a little nose. Kind of put an indication of where the mouth is going to be. All of the features are pretty close together. Bit of solvent on there. With this stuff you can really just put some on the brush and then just leave the brush like that and just keeps you from putting too much. Her nose just turned up a little. I'm mumbling again. Need, I don't know if you can see your profile. I want there to be a little bit more material above the upper lip. Alright, so we're still working on the face. We're gonna put a little material around the mouth. Center of the face comes out a little more, so we're just dragging some of this material towards the center. Just little bits at a time. That's material for items. Well, components. It's called sewing. Yeah, that's too much mush. We're going to try to get some upside down. Okay, so that's our almost. Do I need to go separate? And plug in each material and then I've got to smooth it out again. Wait, deep inside. I thought it more. It took 2 seconds. Thank you. So you take his hat back a little. Okay, we're gonna put some bangs on here. Okay, we're gonna put the detail in the ears, which is just a twirl. Start adding in some hair. So I like the shape of the hair. Now I just want to get it smooth. Make a little part where it looks like there's a rubber band for pigtails. At the same time, I have to make this whole part leading up to the red rubber band a lot skinnier. So I added some more band to the top here because I realized I need a lot more room to be able to stick the rim of the hat. So the rim of the hat will probably, take up from there to there. Maybe a little more. And we'll do that all the way around. But the rim of the hat has to be close to the last thing we do. So, what I need to do is look at the detail in the eyes. So I have the end of this paintbrush, where are we? Which was gonna be about the size of the. So I just kind of want to make. Can you see this? An indentation. And this will work. Can you kind of see it? That's just to make sure I have, you know, the pupils the same size. Ta-da! So I thinned out the rim around the hat. We'll see what they think.
Okay, so we are back again. Here we are. This is that awesome little child sculpt from that book. And now we're ready to make a tool. This tool is going to be very complicated, and it's going to be a real pain in the neck from start to finish. And the reason being is it's very small at the bottom, and of course at the top it's very big. So I try to look and improvise on how we're going to make that tool and what we're even actually going to use for a vessel. The best thing that I came up with is our mixing cups that we use to mix silicone and other materials. So if you look at this, and I'll try to put this right here, what you'll see is it's almost the perfect size for the hat. And so all that material underneath, though, all this material here, will all be a waste of material. But it's what the job takes. So it's what is going to have to happen. So what you're going to need is a vessel with an open bottom and an open top. And what I did was I just took quick measurements. I used a Sharpie. I ran a line, and we're just going to modify this. And it's pretty simple. You're just going to cut it down, and you're going to try to cut as straight as possible. You're never going to do it straight, so don't worry about it. You'll be able to fill that up with a hot glue gun to the bottom substrate. And that's how we're going to get that done. Go nice and slow. These containers usually crack rather than cut, so you don't want to lose it when you're 90% through. Just go nice and slow, don't worry about it. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a minimum distance of about 1/4 of an inch around each edge. It'll give you a place to pour your material and have the bubbles come to the surface over time, and that'll give you a good mold without air bubbles. Because you're going to have other problems when you get into molding. There's going to be so many areas to trap bubbles. It's going to be ridiculous. This is going to be a very, very complicated part to get perfect. And we'll do our best. Alright, on to securing the mold and making that mold. Okay, so if you've seen any of our videos in the past, you'll know what we need to do is mount this on a substrate. Mount the figurine inside, then mount this around it. So what I normally use is, I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see what we have. This is a corrugated plastic sheet. So you'll buy one and you'll probably use it the rest of your life, because you can use it over and over and over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this cup right on top of it. I'm just going to grab a single-edged knife, and I'm just going to cut right down. And so you can either leave this piece long or lengthy, if you'd like, and then you could use it over and over again, or you could cut it in half so that it's easier to work with. So that's what I'm going to do. Of course, now I'm going against the grain, so it'll be harder to cut. Just be careful, don't cut your hand off. Alright, it's pretty simple. So what we're going to use, of course, we're going to mount the figurine forward facing. And we are going to use crazy glue. Now, what you really want to look for with crazy glue is the maximum bond. It's actually thicker, so it doesn't pour all over, and it actually comes out more like a paste than what you're accustomed to. It's also way more expensive, but it's worth it. So I'm going to apply a bead to the bottom. This will not stick to this substrate, just so that's clear. You're going to have to use an accelerator. The accelerator will not dry either, so you're going to have to clean that up. Okay, so the accelerator worked. It adhered the glue to the base, but inside, underneath, this glue is not dry. What most likely is going to happen after we cast this, the silicone that gets in and around this base will not dry, and we're going to cut that away, and that's going to leave a very bad base in casting, but we'll be able to hand clean that up. Okay, so let's just make sure. There we go. She's all held in place. So what we're going to do now is we'll grab our 32-ounce mixing cup that we already trimmed off. And you really don't have to worry about if this is trimmed in a straight line or not. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's edgy. What'll happen is the liquid will set its own flat surface based on the level of your table. So you're just going to fill this up with silicone. So now I really can't see with this goofy camera in the way, but so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start beating around the edge. We have our hot glue gun. It's been on the side getting warm, and it's ready to go. So now I've centered our mixing cup around the figurine. I'm going to hold it flat down, and I'm going to go around. Alright, you're going to let that set for a little bit. And while that's setting, I'm going to check the top again, and you'll see it's nicely done. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mix our silicone. We're going to get that ready. We'll do a pour, and this will be ready to cast in the morning. And we'll get right back to that. Alright, we are back. So here is our little figurine, all staged, glue hardened, ready to go, ready to pour. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. And here are 3 containers of silicone that are already prepared and mixed. They're ready to go. I put 9 ounces in each, total of 27 ounces. If my math is correct, that's all we'll need. Chances are my math is wrong, and we'll have to fill it up some more, but we'll see what goes on. Alright, so I'm going to try to show you how I pour silicone, but with this goofy camera in the way, I seriously doubt if I'll be able to capture that, but we shall see. So I'm going to move that out a little bit. I have this horrible GoPro fisheye garbage, and it's looking like it's going to come in handy for this. Didn't come in handy for anything else, but it may come in handy for this. So let's see if I can make that happen for you. So what you're going to want to do is try to get all the silicone coming into one place. And you're going to want to try to get a small stream going. And I'm going to try to move that towards the front. Let's see, towards the side. The back. How is the back? I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, it's pretty unremarkable, so you really don't even have to see it. But if you do want to see it, it's a short stream of silicone that we're pouring, and we're pouring it off the product so it doesn't add any weight to the product. Alright, I think I have it so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to pour some material for you so you can see it fill up the area. So if you look pretty close, I'll try to pour it slow. I'm going to try to get a little stream. And that little stream is actually going to pop the air bubbles that are in the material. Or at least it'll pop the really, really big ones. The small ones will pop over time. As you can see, I'm pouring the stream off the product. Keep that in mind. Try not to pour on the product. When you pour on the product, you're going to have problems. Especially if you have a fragile piece. The weight of the silicone may crack that piece. So as you can see, the hat is tilted towards the front. So we're pouring where the hat is towards the back. And hopefully the bubbles will slide up the inside surface of the hat and come out the front of the hat, so we don't have any bubbles trapped underneath the hat. Good luck with that, huh? So that's a second container of 9 ounces. We're going to have a third one, and of course it won't be enough material for this project. And then we'll just go back and we'll make another one. Okay, as you can see, we're a little light on material, so there's still some showing. So we're just going to make a little bit more, and we'll just plop it right on top. And you can see some bubbles are stuck in there. We'll try to fish them out as best we can. Okay, so we are ready to open the mold. So if you've seen our other videos, you really know how this goes, but I'll go through it all the time so you know. So we have the mold glued onto the substrate. And so what we need to do is remove that. We need to cut the mold open. But first we need to have the container removed that made the mold. So we have to cut that open too. So first things first, we need to flex this bottom. It's going to be pretty complicated. Yeah, it went much easier. Okay, here it is. Okay, so
this is now the part upside down. This is where we're going to pour material into it. So, next step is to remove the housing. Pretty simple. Just make a cut. I usually then just rip it apart. Yeah, I know. It's the boring part. And there it is, removed nice and easily. So, the really big part of this one is going to be, where do we cut this mold so we can pull the part out? So as you can see, if we do a cut down the middle, the hat will be stuck. So it would have to be a cut here, here, and then down here somehow. Or we can really get crazy and do one cut from the top of the hat all the way through, down, and then down the back. And so you would open it in one way. And yeah, that most likely isn't going to work, but we'll give it a shot anyway. Alright, so I've made my decision that we are going to cut down, cut through that squiggly in the back of the hat, then through the bottom of the hat and down the back. And I hope we'll be able to flex the mold open to pull the piece out. This is going to be a disaster. So you could watch a disaster in the making. Alright, first things first, trust the X-Acto knife. Then we'll use our spreader. You need one of these. Get a spreader. Alright, so I may be pulling this out of the camera just so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to use the squiggly knife technique, right? We discussed that. Move your knife back and forth. So I'm going to try to get center. So I made a pretty sharp turn there. Man, this is not going to work. Okay. Now I'm going to cut all the way down to the base. Then I'm going to go up and follow that cut using our trusty spreader. Okay, you see that cut in there? That was critical in getting this part out. It's still most likely not going to come out well. But like we've done in the past, we really don't care if we get this sculpture out in one piece. As long as the mold is moldable, then we get an exact copy out. So that's the key. getting there. Okay. So I'm going to cut across the top. I think we're going to keep cutting across the top, and then we'll see what happens from there. So it's looking like we could pull this out now. Okay, and so you're probably asking yourself the big question, why am I struggling so much? And why aren't I cutting all the way through the front? What you really want to do is minimize your parting line, and you want as little parting lines as possible interfering with the part. That makes all secondary operations. This is a very, very complicated part. There are many undercuts, the little hair ponytails inside the neck. It's a very complicated part to not only sculpt but to make a mold and then to mold. So as you can see, the master pattern is destroyed, which is typically what happens on complicated parts. But that's okay because we have a mold. And that's the point of making a mold, is so that you can make multiple copies. And also you could cast in a color, so we're going to cast her in a color so that we don't have to paint the hands and the face. And that's the key. You don't want to have to paint the flesh tone on the face and then try to make that look real. You want to cast in a color. So this is holy cow, right? So we have some cleanup to do. We have to figure out how to get those little ponytails out, and not only that, when we cast it, how to get them out of the mold. So this is going to be bad. At the very least, it's going to be horrible. See what we can do. So remember, go nice and slow. Alright, so I'm going to try to prepare this and get this molded. We may use a little trick to mold this off and demold it. So what we may do is actually, and I'm thinking we're going to do that after we cast it, we're going to go around and cut the top off the mold. Follow that hat line, pop the top off, make it easy to get the bottom out. But what we'll have to do is, I don't know if you can see where the little ponytails are. Right there, we're going to have to open that up so it has less tension on it. So, and this is where some experience comes in from past molding projects. So you really can't see it, but there are little holes right here that should be opened up. So I'm just going to do a cross cut on each one. Okay, so I don't know if you could see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an X cut or a cross cut. I'm going to try to open that up. Okay, before we go ahead and fill the mold, as you know, there are a lot of places that air can get caught up in. So, because we didn't place air vents as we made the tool, because this is a very complicated tool, what we're going to do is really simply, we're going to pop some holes with a drill. We're going to use an oversized drill bit because the silicone will squeeze around that drill and shrink that hole. So we're going to put one in the tip of the hat, scroll. We're going to put one each where the ponytails are, one on each side. We're going to put one in the bottom of the rim here of the hat, because what happens is, as this stands, the air bubbles will get trapped at the highest point, which is the highest point from the table, and that's where the air will want to come out. And then we're going to pop some holes directly where her dress is, because if you can see that, that's a flat area, and as the material fills up, it'll trap air in that area. Although it has, I don't know, maybe we'll leave that alone. Maybe we'll just pop one hole. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those holes right quick. Okay, so we have basic air vents or sprue holes put in, whatever you want to use. Let's call them air vents. Alright, so we're ready to tape up the mold, and we're just going to hold the mold nice and tight so material doesn't weep out the seams that we cut. Basically, we use an electric tape, no big deal. What you're going to want to do is go around the base, make that nice and tight, just one wrap, and then you're going to want to go up the mold, but you want to miss all of these holes, the air vents, and so it's pretty simple. Now the less tape you use, the better it is, so you can check as you're pouring material. And we're going to wiggle this mold around. We're going to try to get all the air holes, all the air gaps to weep out of those holes, the air vents, and have material come out of those holes. So once you have material pop out of these holes, you're going to know that you did a good job. So you really have to watch that. And what we're going to do is really simply, it's really cool. We're going to use toothpicks, break them in half, get them ready. As material comes out of each hole, you're going to plug that hole, because then you'll just be losing material. Alright, so I'm going to get the material ready, and we'll pour. I'm going to cut this off. This is extra silicone. It doesn't have to be perfect, because it doesn't matter really. You're going to be trimming off that bottom anyway. So, no big deal. Alright, let's get on to the material. Okay, we have our material mixed, and we're going to have to pour this very quickly, because this material sets up in less than 2 minutes. I'm going to stop though, and I'm going to check it. I'm going to look for material coming out of the original sprue holes or air vents. I'm going to bounce this around. I'm going to help that material get through. I'm going to hope for a good pour. Okay. I have material coming out of one vent, 2 vents, 3 vents, 4 vents. Doesn't guarantee that you have a good piece at all. So we're going to top it off a little bit. As you can see, that material's starting to change color. That doesn't mean that inside the part is ready. So you'll see it'll change color. We're going to wait a little bit. We're going to take the tape off. We're going to see if the entire piece is filled, and then we're going to try to demold it without breaking the part. That's the trick. Alright, so I waited a couple of minutes, probably about 10, so I'm going to cut the tape off, open the mold. I'm going to peek around though first. We're peeking. Whoa. Alright, so it looks perfect. So we can't lose this. We can't lose this one. Oh my god, look at that. I'm so excited. Alright, so we're going to pull these pins out. Then the big question is, how do we cut this open? Do we try to get it out in one piece? Or do we use caution? Now there's a word I haven't used in a long time. Caution. Yep. Yeah. So I'm torn. I'm torn between caution and seeing if my skills will ride me through this. Caution it is. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut through the mold following the rim of the hat. And then we'll pull the top off by opening up this. And so we'll see if it makes sense. Alright, let's rock and roll. Let's get it done. The big problem is if we cannot get this piece out well, is your next pour is going to have a million places where it can leak all the way around the rim of that hat. So we're going to see what we could do. We're going to see. Okay, and there it is. Okay, we are getting there. We have a little problem on the bottom. We'll fill that up. Some putty, and we'll take care of that. This is going to be the most crucial part right here. So I hope it works out. Holy cow. Look at that. I got it. And the ponytails are not broken. So that's the sprue hole with the drill that we made. You can see the circular marks. Just going to cut that right off. Look at that. And the other one just broke off in the right place. We'll trim that off. And there it is. Okay, kind of surprised. I am kind of surprised. Boom. There she is. And then we'll go through some cleanup techniques, and then we'll get right to painting. So, I'm pretty excited. So, as you can see, I'm using my thumbnail. You know, it's so much easier to use your hands. You can feel all the imperfections. That'll come over time. And I'm just getting all these micro inclusions out. Yeah, right there. Alright, it's pretty cool. We get into painting, final decorating, boom, ship it, it's out the door. Another happy client from HeroBuilders.com. Okay, so we are back. So we're going to do the final painting, and I'm going to try to keep it in frame. I don't think I'll have much success in doing that and trying to paint this, so I'm going to have to bear with this. What we'll do is we're just going to do a first blush color, and we're going to use brown. As you can see by the sample, we're going to use a brown with a red in it, and we're using this paint right here. It's pretty cool. It's called a Hull Red. It's definitely brown, but it has a red in it, and that'll bring out the red that we're going to be using for the rest of the outfit, the shirt and the hat. And then the yellow we're going to use is lemon yellow. Make the bow and the buckle pop out. So once again, you're going to take your time. We're going to go nice and slow, and what we're going to do is we're just going to do a full first coat. And it's just to get the color on there. It has nothing to do with the thickness of material or anything like that. We just need to coat the material. So we're going to start out with this band right here and work our way through the process. Alright, so you're going to get the idea. We're just really pushing and pulling paint to where it should be. You just want to go around that rim with your first coat. And as you can see, I'm making some errors too. It's no big deal, right? So this is really just the first coat that we're laying down, a base coat. Really need to let it dry fully. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the next coat. We're going to start adding some paint to the dress, and shouldn't have that much of a problem with that, right? Alright. Let's see what we could do here. This should just work just by pulling down. And here we are, we're going to add the red, and we're going to rim off the top first. So you see, once you start adding the colors, it starts coming together. It doesn't look so bad. This is probably the worst part of the whole process. So it's the hardest and it takes the longest to get right. The most important part about this portion of your project is patience, time. Everything takes time. Don't force it, don't push it. Okay, and we'll just keep on going until we have a great final product. All right, we are back. So we did our first and most coats. It's almost 100% complete. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a final coat to the hat and try to smooth that out. So I started here already. As you can see, the mottled look is gone. So I'm just going to take you through the final coat. Now that the main coats have been put on, it's much simpler. I try to keep it in frame. Good luck with that, right? Okay, so as you can see right back here, I did not finalize that for you, so I'll just do it real quick. And there it is. I'm just going to keep going around. Now we're going to do the rim and the bottom where the feet go. So you have to take your time. You have to be patient. You have to go slow and don't rush the end. Rushing the end will ruin your entire project. So as you can see, the difference in the paint right here. And you can see it'll take one last coat. But we're just going to smooth that right out, and it's just going to look great. So you have to go slow, slow, slow. Alright, we're going to do the top of the base, and we'll get that all complete and ready to go. Then we'll do a last coat on the top. And as you can see, it's still not dry. I could feel the wetness in the paint, but it's 100 times better than it was. Okay, so it's looking good. What we're going to do is we're going to do our last coat on the top. Probably within the next 10 minutes. We really have to let it set. But all in all, so cute. Alright, we're back, and we are going to make sure that we have the last coat. Last coat. Alright. Should be easy to knock out real quick. Okay, so we're going to start at the top. Just going to lay down your paint, and you're going to pull it up. Okay, it's that quick. And it'll fade, it'll blend, and we're just going to do the rim. Looking like maybe we're going to need 2 coats more, but we'll see. Don't be tempted to do a very heavy coat. Go nice and slow. Use the technique of pushing the paint into the corners. You can see I'm putting it thick in the center, and then I'm going to push it in with whatever paint is there. I'm pulling it down. And yep, videos don't get any more boring than this. And there it is. Looks nice. Looks 1,000 times better than the initial coats. And we'll see how it really comes out. We'll let it set. And we'll decide whether a last and final coat goes on. I think maybe we'll do another one. I don't know. But we definitely have to wait till it sets. You're going to wait another half hour. So in that time, I'll go build a motorcycle. Alright. We are finally done. And there it is. So, it's nice and smooth. And it is complete. How cool is that?